may tie in later, but for now, this makes no sense.
No way.
Everything.
Yeah.
The little good and bad voices on Mort's shoulders don't exist.
Let's see
for
that
he
switch.
has a whole society
Let's
of
see that
differing
switch.
perspectives that take their own spotlights. They do this constantly.
Damn.
And they all try possessing
Damn.
them.
I gotta watch this
Chapter
show.
3.
I
Todd
gotta
is
watch
eaten
this
by a
show.
snake.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Evan, and we're here to continue the Mort theory and to pick up where I left off. So we're gonna go to part 3 or chapter 3, and let's see lots more of the crazy things that Mort has done. So if you like this reaction, like, share, subscribe. We're on the road to 1k subscribers, and I'll be working on the audio because I got a comment that the audio wasn't really optimal for the last video, so I'm gonna make sure that I fix that and it turns out perfect. So without further ado, let's go right into the reaction. Alright, let's get it. What more evidence do you have for us, or for me? Can't believe I never heard of the theorizer before, and
Everyone,
It
make
took a
sure to
comment
watch
for me
the
to-
prologue to this huge theory first, and then the big first section of evidence. You are basically on part 3
Yep.
right now. Technically, it's part 2, section 2, but for the sake of the algorithm, I'm going to call it part 3. I will
Okay.
link parts 1 and 2 above now as a playlist that I've made.
I've
for those
watched
who
that.
are prepared, it's
I have watched
time
that already,
for
so-
season 4 of All Hail King Julian.
I'm gonna watch
we
the
are
show.
halfway through the show.
I'm gonna watch
Mort
it.
starts off the premiere by getting his own TV show called Still Life with Feet, where he mimics Bob Ross and draws Julian's feet. He also, of course,
Damn.
wears the blonde wig again and actually shows us another wig he's woven out of the stolen hair he mentioned from before. Clearly,
From
this
who?
is something all of the personalities enjoy doing. More people
Who did he
mock
steal the
Maurice
hair
until
from?
he runs away bawling, "I have feelings!" Mort fears that Julian can somehow hear his thoughts, and he panics, worried they will betray him. We're getting close to some answers. I
Mort?
can just feel it. A couple of characters rob the kingdom, and during it, they have an odd conversation about friendly, non-weird wrestling. When they're arrested, they get put in a prison cell where Mort also resides, and he says
How?
a crazy line.
Orange is the new you. Wanna wrestle? As long as it's weird.
Creepy as hell.
And you see the
Another
Pancho guy whimpering,
persona.
yeah?
You see, this show is crazier than even the worst SpongeBob, and yet it has incredible consistency.
Honestly?
I've said it before. This makes
I've watched Alex Bill's SpongeBob theories, right? And it doesn't come close to this more theory, and I'm not even over exaggerating it right now. It doesn't come close. It doesn't come close.
it truly disturbed. It's a show that pretends to be a kid's show.
It's
and
not!
That makes it so eerie.
And weird
It
and
actually is a
creepy.
kid's show, so it's
And that's why I'm
very
gonna watch
unsettling.
it.
Mort finally describes his inner imagination world in episode 2 when he says nobody ever gets hurt there, most of the time. I want to see this world, Mort. Later, everyone puts on a massive act and
Did they
he
show
plays
us?
the bad guy. He relishes in this and darkly chuckles with glee. Another persona? He gets a little too into it and lowers them all into
I
a
assume that's how
volcano
he's
while
chuckling.
laughing like a maniac. Later, it is implied that he is faking it, though. In episode 3, he once again shows his artistic ability when he paints a
Damn!
phenomenal image of Julian, and Julian, of
Damn!
course, calls him a vulgar little mutant. Mort asks,
When's lunch?
Julian!
I haven't eaten in like a month.
Julian,
it's
come on. I mean, Mort, yeah, he's not wrong, but I mean, he do got some talent.
sustaining system perpetuating
Julian is
the
a
crafty
whole
and take
nother
it
nut
further.
job.
He claims he's real good at smearing stuff, and that he has parties with organic mannequins of his friends. What Mort
Organic
has is an
mannequins.
obsession with Julian. It sure ain't love, and I don't know if I'd necessarily call it fetishization either. It's an
I
obsession.
think it's
He
more
has
than
another
that.
internal discussion with a personality. This time, it seems to be his inner artist. Our Mort loves the feet, the artsy one does not. Important distinction. Everyone stares at him in creeped confusion. I can't tell if the personality is coercing Mort or taking over
Yeah.
Mort. It rotates.
Like, who's
Lots
in
more
control.
social commentary and sophisticated critique of the avant-garde. He eats fruits whole, but that's all pretty normal, of course, for this show. In the corner, we once again see his home planet painting.
Yeah,
Funny,
with
I
the
was
feet.
just about to say his obsession was alien and fueled by a desire to return to his home constellation. His goal in
You
this
know
episode was
what?
to paint Julian the way he
That
truly
might
sees
be
him.
it, though.
His house is full of foot art, and he wants to mount the real deal eventually. Julian finally grants Mort foot
No
access.
way, no way. Pause. Pause. What is this? Mort. I was just about to mention, if there's ever a case of someone who has a immense foot fetish, then it's Mort. And I did not even have to say that out, and this
And Mort screams,
frame comes
"I
in.
love you, the feet!" He throws his face and tongue all over them. See? He butchers grammar and says the
Ew!
feet as if it's an individual entity he's obsessed with, not some
Ew,
sort of
like he's
usual
worshipping
atypical
it.
attraction. He hates other feet in comparison to Julian.
Yeah,
but he'll
like
take
he's
what he
worshipping
can
it.
get. In episode 4, he has a minutes-long fart. He refuels by breathing in, once again proving him to be a hollow entity in essence. He wishes to be first on the sacrifice list and actively demands danger. He kicks out another sacrifice to take his place and says, "I'm first on the list. Read it and weep, Gramps." He's talking to Hector, an elderly lemur in the kingdom. I was all like, "Aren't you older than him, Mort?" And Hector literally follows it up with, "You're older than me, Mort." See? Usually I have to highlight continuity like this, but here they are, seconds later
They're
confirming
just
it for
saying
me.
it. Yeah, they're
Accommodating
just saying
show.
it.
So anyways, they catapult Mort far off the island, and
Swapped
then
out
he
a lot of my
suddenly
powerful
appears
rude years
right
ago.
next
What
to
does
them,
that mean?
changed. So when his altars come into the light, they can teleport him? This rabbit hole is degrading me. Mort says he floats real good because he swapped all his parts for wood years ago.
What
the
does
other
that
character I do
mean?
want to highlight is the only one I
Literally,
enjoy
I
more
mean-
than Mort. Another supernatural one that can aid in our mission here. That character is Todd. He is freaking hilarious. He's this little pageant boy who's always commanded around by that insane Karen soccer mom I mentioned before. Tammy.
Oh, the
She's
other
nuts
this guy
and
here,
screams his name,
yeah.
and he always stares blankly into space with the utmost creepiness until called upon by his mother, at which point he does something random but extremely talented. In this episode, he highlights his paranormality when he walks vertically down the side of a chest. Everyone's rightfully scared of him. His mom claims he can be activated.
Like a
Whatever the hell
robot,
that
like a
means.
robot.
His default face is brainwashed, though, so I can certainly guess. He has this
He's a robot. He's a robot or an AI or something. At this point, I'm just gonna go. He's a
evil
robot.
attack face that looks demonic, and then in this episode, Tammy finally explains it. She laughs villainously, and no
He's a vampire.
joke, claims that they
A
can
vampire.
only stop him by driving a stake through his heart while a priest recites a ritual.
He's a vampire.
Todd is possessed by a demon. She screams
Or
at him
that.
to let go of Maurice's jugular, and he goes back to Catatonia. He looks like Mort and is important. This baby lemur is a key to a lock I haven't come across yet.
Okay.
But back to our good pal Mort, who disturbingly locks mannequins inside of his house and drops a boulder on it to put them out of their supposed bizarre misery. He puts on the wig again and plays some drums. Seconds later, though, he's back to our Mort, and I can't tell if he's right here hallucinating identities around him.
How
or
do you
a
know if
black
it's the
spoons
How do you know if he's the actual Mort
sand,
or
and then
the other
pulls
person?
a
I mean,
cannon
I
out
guess
of
I have
thin
to watch the
air.
show.
Dread pirate, I say. People around him don't even question how he apports things anymore.
I mean, they
Mort
just say that's
calls
part of
Julian
reality, I
handsome, but
guess.
I know better. It's a twisted obsession. Even when he laughs normally, the subtitles default to calling it evil.
Evil
Let
laugh.
it be known. Episode 5. Mort twerks on a pole to seduce a rooster. During alleged sensitivity training, Julian calls Mort a fun-sized trash goblin, and Mort loves it. Also calls him a worm-riddled peach pit and a second-hand donkey puppet, which Mort enjoys as well. Carl wants to keep Julian on his toes, to which
you're
Mort says,
freaky like that?
Look at his toes.
Julian kicks him
You're freaky
as
like that?
per the usual. Here, we also get a shot of one of Carl's
Students with ADHD save 10
No, I
hours
think I remember,
studying with
right?
this
Because
extension.
Man, get out of here. I don't have ADHD. I think I remember watching Penguins of Madagascar. I think I remember beats and scenes where Julian was kind of like taking jabs at Mort, and Mort just seems unfazed. I think at some point even Maurice kind of like felt bad for Mort. Like, are you gonna sit here and take all this? And Mort was like, he enjoyed that. Maybe I'm making this up based on this theory, but I'm dead ass certain there's a scene in Penguins of Madagascar that's like that. I'm dead ass certain,
which is freelance religious work. He screams, "The power of the sky gods compel you," at Todd, causing him to float in midair and then thrash around. Demon child. I'm getting exhausted already. I mean,
what is
there's
this
so
show?
much. And then a lot of weird shit happens at
Like?
once. Mort suggests that the Fusa have resorted to cannibalism. Mort implies he likes
I miss
eating
Maurice,
live
though.
chicken. Maurice lays an egg. Mort falls into a deep fryer and instantly turns into popcorn, then back again. Episode 6. More Mort madness. I think he somehow gets onto the mainland and then returns via parachute. A fork stabs him straight through the head, and he asks if something's burning. So clearly Mort has a brain, right? One that can be affected similarly to a human's. He later rolls around in an onion
really
patch
doesn't
to
do
protect from
nothing.
werewolves. There's some unique
guessing.
commentary in this episode on cults, and Mort gets hypnotized into being the evil cat of an evil, sophisticated crocodile who tries to usurp the kingdom. The show gets
this show is
very, very weird. Mort then meows like the supposed cat he is. Probably genetic. I doubt it, but we shall see.
Yeah, I think in
Mort
the first
turns his
episode.
head 180 degrees. Is he part owl? I doubt it, but again, we shall see.
I was just about
And it
to
persists here
mention-
as Season 4 is pure insanity. Episode 7. Mort claims nobody ever asks about him unless he's under investigation. Based on his track record, it's certainly clear he's malicious indeed. Multiple arrests are quite likely in his past. Mort is asked if his family has had inbreeding, and he says he's his own grandfather. We soon learn that his dad was a bear, and from what I understand,
His
we
own
eventually meet
grandfather.
Grammy Mort's husband, so clearly someone
Let me
is
see that shot real
lying
quick. Let
somewhere.
me see that shot real
Does
quick.
this inbreeding mean
No!
Mort has time traveled? We're in very close proximity to the bombshell episode, yes, but I don't know. Next up, Mort swims in a tub of toenails and squeals, "Give it to me," as he fills his mouth with them. Tammy starts
guessing
speaking
that's
in various
King
extinct
Julian's
tongues when
toenails.
She presumes someone around her is possessed by a demon. She has clear experience with Todd. Mort then counters the notion that he breathes through his mouth when he dives in a pool and claims his gills are clogged with
He's a
drained
fish.
air. This means he is also part fish. Mort panics and needs to consult
But
his
the thing, I mean, I'm not saying I doubt it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I doubt it. But the thing is it actually for real or is he just bluffing? I'm not one to take more as someone who bluffs. If it's King Julian, yes. But sometimes some of the crazy things he says, I'm forced to believe like he's just bluffing, right? But then another part of me is like, nah, he ain't bluffing. I think he's actually
inner
for real.
voices. One of
Get
them
me.
calls him Mortimer and tells him
With
not
those
to blow it.
split
This new name
personality and
counters
all.
when he called himself Mordecai and brings up the possibility that he just adds stuff onto his name quite randomly. But his original name is just Mort, which, as I've said many times before,
Death.
is Latin for death. Several more Morts show up in his mind and show that they've got a whole system in this psychotic inner world. They're starting to truly build on Mort's lore, finally. He gets married to Pam, a woman who tries stealing the throne.
One of
They
his
accuse
wives.
Mort of being a completely unknown species, to which he replies he's fully aware that he's a medical marvel whose father was a
Oh.
bear. So much is going on now, it's madness, and they're revealing
Then scratch
things
what I
about his
said.
genealogy.
Scratch
Remember
what I
Sage?
said. This show is-
yeah,
this show
this
is
huge
proving
bird
it.
comes crashing into a rock, and he heals it with magical tears. His last name is Moon Dancer. He has got to have Sky God relations somehow. Maurice claims to be surrounded by crazy people, and that is very sadly true. Turns out Pam illegally married Mort and is a con artist. Turns out she also married that zombie who then reconnects with Mort and goes on a cruise. Mort, all done up in his usual blonde wig. It can't get any crazier.
Then I'm guessing
but I
Mort
positively
killed her,
know
right?
it will. Episode 8. Mort is
I'm
leaking
guessing Mort
something.
killed her.
Later says he burst an artery as well. Also raises his eyebrows, winks, and says he'll take some fine tunage if we know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Pop culture commentary
it.
abounds in this episode. Mort thrusts the air, zero exaggeration. Then he roasts someone and later says, "Oh, I can handle this." Happy to do it, in fact. He nefariously chuckles. Another persona, I'm losing it. There's so
We never
much.
know.
I mean,
Take a water. Take a water.
I just can't. What? So you're telling me? No. No. No, no,
Well-
no. We focus on Mort and the supernatural that surrounds him. Now is not the time for Puss in Boots. Shrek may tie in later, but for now, this makes
No
no
way.
sense.
No way. Don't tell me Puss in Boots. No way. I'm believing theorizer. I'm following you on the Mort thing, but nah, you're diverting to Puss in Boots, and I don't know about Puss in Boots. This is a wormhole or a rabbit hole that I've dug myself into. Well done. Well done. Y'all in the comments that suggested I react to this, well done. You guys knew what you were doing, yeah? Good job. Now I'm in the hole. Well done.
Moving on. Episode 9,
Let's
he's
move
electrocuted, showing he does have a skeleton once again.
Yeah,
It is implied that
big
Mort
head.
helped brainwash some of the citizens, but finally, we've made it to the episode where everything that they've ever built up unravels. The beginning of not just this show's madness,
Okay.
what it does from now on, which
Okay.
is sci-fi madness. Absolute pure insanity, and why I'm making the theory. Season 4,
what happens?
episode 10. You seriously
The
all
Wrath
have to
of
watch this one
Morticius
for yourselves. They don't even stall the inevitable that is this episode. Julian has that science dude, Timo, build a cloning machine so that he can love
I'm guessing, I'm pausing here because I'm guessing that what's gonna happen is Mort is gonna take you or take hold of that machine and create clones of himself, and that clone is going to be his different personalities coming into reality. But the question is, how many personalities are gonna come, and who is gonna come as a personality?
more of himself. He does, and various Julians of different personalities come strutting through. Lastly, a female Julian pops out, and Julian
Where?
falls in love, making Mort jealous. Mort loves her feet too, though, and thus he finally loses it and takes it upon himself to activate the machine again with his butt. He wants his very own Julian to, quote,
cuddle, bathe, and feed while he's strapped to a high chair.
The machine takes his
Mort is
signature
freaky,
instead
freaky.
of Julian's and reaches into another universe
Yep.
populated entirely.
If you're a web designer, here are 4 Wix Studio features.
I'm
you've gotta
not
know.
a web designer, bruv.
by evil
Well, if you're a
Mort
web designer,
clones.
that's
Turns
weird.
out Timo somehow
called it.
accidentally built an
I
interdimensional
called it.
portal and merely has led
But I
through
didn't call
all three
this.
versions of Julian. In the Mort universe, there's thousands of them who all
Thousands
bow and
of
pray to their leader,
personality.
Mordecus Khan, who sits on a giant throne of skulls in the middle of a barren wasteland filled with foot effigies.
I did
For
not
those
not
who
call
thought
this.
I was joking. I have just stumbled upon the largest untapped gold mine in the known history of fan theorizing. They all march right through the portal, and Mort screams that his nightmares have come to annihilate him. I assume he could detect their
so he
existence through the
knows.
fabric of reality.
Yeah.
in his memories? I don't know. Every single
Probably.
Mort in Mordecus Khan's army seems to have the abilities of a regular Mort, and they begin destroying Madagascar
So
while
they are
chanting,
indestructible.
Mort. Their war horns are gigantic woodwinds that are not blown into with the mouth.
They
but
fart
with
into
the
it.
Anus. They have endlessly
They are
long
all
farts
freaky.
that announce their presence.
Freaky
Mordecus
ass-
himself shows what a
freaky
Mort
ass
is
wherever-
truly
wherever they
capable
are.
of when he claims to smell the fear of other lemurs as he conquers this universe. He claims to be supreme leader of the Mortverse, which to me either means the multiverse in relation to the Mort residing
Yeah.
in each one, or it's just the name he gives his own barren universe. Perhaps his horde consists of every other Mort in every other universe he has conquered? Anyways, the gang tracks down Mort and forces him to down coffee so Smart Mort will return. Once he does, things come full circle. Smart Mort claims he has a friend who can explain the multiverse, and we cut to none other than
pineapple.
in his limbo.
The pineapple!
Communicating with those on the ground. How does Smart Mort know Pineapple? How? How on earth? Is this thing even Julian's ancestors? Who knows? Smart Mort has seen it all. Pineapple then calls in Dr. Watermelon Balking
I
to
thought I was gonna say
explain the
Dr. Who.
multiverse, utterly obliterating the fourth wall in the process by speaking directly to the quote, kids
Ooh.
at home. Pineapple says he owes a lot of money to fruits and veggies of other universes. At this point, I feel like Pineapple is sort of the god or a god of our universe, interpreted the only way the characters know how. Smart Mort refers to regular
I don't know
Mort
about
as
that.
himself once again. Normal Mort calls Smart Mort Icky. So is he a
Damn.
persona or just Mort? Answer me, show, damn it! Smart Mort knows so much. He's got all the knowledge of Mort's immortal life, an anomalous elder god trapped as a mouse lemur in the corner of a forgotten island off the coast of Mozambique. Holy hell. He says every
Mozambique,
Mort
yeah.
in every universe loves the feet, and he gets distracted back into normal Mort, forcing them to copy him again. Mordecus says that no universe has ever dared face him. They chant their anthem, Mort, 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 we come to fight, we come to kill,
is
today you die,
creepy.
you surely will.
Theorizer,
They vow
that
to
is
leave no
creepy.
survivors
That
and
is,
dine
honestly,
on
I
the
don't think I can get
tears
over
of the
that.
dead. The clouds open up and reveal Limbo as the divine fruits watch down on the ensuing massacre. They pump up a massive balloon of a lemur foot, and it entrances the Mort horde. They run straight up a cliff face for it. Mordecus ain't so easily swayed. I can see why he's their ruler. On second glance, I do think the barren wasteland is in fact a completely ocean-free version of our world, right outside Madagascar. After all, it's through reality, not through space, and they drop down out
And
of
it's
the portal that is
barren.
elevated on our side. Mordecus nearly cuts off Julian's feet to take as a necklace, but they close the portal in time. Smart Mort returns to the depths of Mort's mind as well,
Damn.
claiming it causes a spatio-temporal imbalance for him to be out. He's multiversal, I know it. Well, that was draining, and we haven't even gotten to the 16-part episode yet. And now we do. Episodes 11, 12, and 13 of the 4th season follow a similar plot that culminates in a massive cliffhanger that is resolved in a whopping 13 more individual
Damn.
episodes of the serialized drama known as Exiled. It's basically season 4.5 of All Hail King Julian, if such a thing existed, and Netflix has, for some reason, separated it as its individual show because it's more dramatic and chapter-based. In episode 11, though, Mort says he has an imaginary friend named Nathan, which, let's face it, another persona.
Yeah,
Mort
I
says he
believe
likes
him.
his Julian
If it was before, I wouldn't believe him, but now
and
I do.
alive. He gets struck by lightning through a roof. Mort once again mocks Maurice's crying by saying, haha, he's not dead inside. This presumes Mort thinks the norm is to be dead inside, i.e., Mort is dead inside. Mort's electrocution now causes him to attract appliances, and a Roomba chases him, to which he yelps, call an exorcist. So the enormous plot starts right around here, where Sage's brother, Koto,
Brother?
of the mountain lemurs, comes in and lies
He has a
of
brother?
his kingdom being destroyed. It's all a plot to take over the lemur kingdom with his warrior species. Sage is rightfully suspicious. Episode 12. While the mountain lemurs plot and raid, Mort removes all of his organs. Some of them are metallic. Mort then, oh, to my great pleasure, gets a DNA test, and the kingdom's creepy doctor, Dr. S the Snake, is even terrified and disturbed by the results. The show then plays creepy music as he reads off the results in a very similar fashion to how I did in part 1. Mort nods as Dr. S says Mort's only 40% lemur, but 60% bear.
This course will teach you how to compose
I don't-
your first piece
I'm
in
not a
5
programmer.
days. It includes
Starfish, sand, potbelly pig, cactus, and a spool of
Oh.
copper wire. Mort corrects him and adds on wood chips, to which Dr. S acknowledges as well. This is all only to Mort's knowledge. There could be
Yeah.
more or ones missed on the test. Perhaps these are just from the organs he's replaced. Mort
Yeah.
weeps when he's nervous. Oh, Julian has a dream of a
Yeah,
parallel
that's
timeline where he never
true.
met Maurice, and in it, Mort claims he made a dream catcher woven from Julian's uncle's fur. Again, Julian's uncle is one of the show's villains, constantly trying to reclaim the throne, but we'll get more on him later. Maurice turns out to be an eye, a different species of lemur, and apparently this species is known for sacrificing beautiful eyes to what they call bell gods at the center of the earth. Sounds
They
a lot
take
like
out
sky gods,
eyes
but we
and
see
put it
these-
on
they're
bells.
the same ones I briefly mentioned were plotting from before.
Yeah.
They are literal bells underground. They have prophecies in a whole society, and they foretell a time of lemur war which is about to come. Season 4 finale. Kodo
is
conquers
creepy,
every
man.
Madagascar kingdom and enslaves everyone. Mort tries escaping by acting as if he's a drop-dead hot chick, and their guard is a handsome sailor. He's had some clear experience. He asks Todd not to judge him. Todd stares blankly into space, of course. With Kodo, it ain't personal. Conquest is just business. Julian does a dance-off, but fails from lack of endurance. Everyone calls Mort delusional, as he uses his teeth to drill out of the prison and save Julian. Mort distracts the execution snake via twerking hypnosis. Mort, epically enough, is
I'm
the
not
last
surprised
line
anymore.
of defense. The snake plays with its new food while Julian escapes on a submarine, starting up exiled. Chapter 1. Kodo wants
Oh,
to,
actually,
quote,
there's
"make
an episode like
Madagascar
that.
great again."
Exile Chapter
Mort
1.
is devastated and works like the other captives as an unpaid intern that carries enormous boulders on his back. I swear. Sage is like a parody of wisdom itself and says his usual quote, something like, "We are all just kicking the cosmic footy sack with a guy named Skeeter who lives in a van." This is the sort of stagnation everyone else is going through while Mort is taking action. He crawls up on his back like the cat he doesn't know he is, and consults his inner room of personalities once again. They brainstorm on how to kill Kodo while acting in various ways and doing various bizarre things.
Yeah.
One of them says,
Oh, baby, daddy like ye.
does this somehow imply Mort has absorbed his father? Thought he was a bear. Or does he just see him as a Mort now? How'd he absorb a bear? Maybe Mort has the unique power to absorb non-Morts, which puts him apart from the likes of the Mort horde, and has resulted in a genetic soup? I really want a Mort v. Mordicus deathmatch.
we
One
never
of the
knew,
mentioned
no-
Morts
we will
says
never
to kill
not
the
know.
other lemurs as well.
Or we'll
and
never
now
know,
we
rather.
truly do get to see the sorts of evil Mort has rattling around in his soul. He laughs like the villain he is, and everyone is horrified. He's stupid, but he feigns stupidity to an extent.
No, he's
as well.
not. He
plans to
acts.
murder
He
Koto
acts stupid.
straight up.
He's
Mort
just
has a
like
lot of
Patrick.
hella wicked schemes, but he wily coyotes himself every single time, putting him in a full-body cast. They soon later take it off because he regenerates quickly, of course. Kodo is amused and makes Mort his jester. Chapter 2. Sage divorces his hawk, who he also raised from birth. Mort's rib punctures his stomach. Kodo relishes the job and forces Mort to consecutively smash plates on his own head. He dismisses Mort as ignorant, but we once again zoom into his mind and see his evil personalities claiming they understand everything. The
Yeah.
little good and bad voices on Mort's shoulders don't exist.
Let's see
for
that
he
switch.
has a whole society
Let's
of
see that
differing
switch.
perspectives that take their own spotlights. They do this constantly.
Damn!
And they all try possessing
Damn!
him.
I gotta watch this
Chapter
show.
3.
I
Todd
gotta
is
watch
eaten
this
by a
show.
snake mid-dance routine.
I gotta
Speaking of
watch this
snakes,
show.
Mort slithers like one during an escape attempt. Serpentine ancestor wiggles like a slug too. We learn that the psychic lizards can teleport. During another escape, Mort seduces the same guard with his "Hey sailor" talk and asks for her hand in marriage. His inner voices object to it. With Julian gone, his personas are really
Another
active
wife.
somehow. One of them suggests a prenup. He manages to win the guard's affection by moving her 1 inch after slamming into her from deflecting off a tree she punched him into. A burglar persona seemingly takes over Mort. We also see a completely different character who actually looks like he has true dissociative identity disorder. Chapter 4. Kodo asks
And he kinda
Mort
looks
why
like
he
Mort,
constantly
too.
giggles evilly as he plots more escape routes. In other news, a fish that barfs mud vomits up a human hand that grants Clover a weapon to save the kingdom. More supernaturality. Mort creates a play
What?
to distract Kodo during their escape and calls everyone babe. 4 of his personalities mock and chastise him about his failure of playwriting. He gets a little immersed since he's only used to writing novels, but his play is successful and they all tunnel out. Chapter 5, Sharks Can Talk Underwater. Apparently dolphins in this universe are, quote, villains that sell other sea creatures to Russian oligarchs. This isn't too far-fetched. I remember an evil dolphin from the Penguins show too, but that's for later. Tammy tells little Todd to, quote, inhale mama's wind, baby, as they escape through the tunnel.
What?
He is right behind her butt. What?
Nah!
They then use Todd's face to shove her up through the ground.
Nah, with the... I'm never gonna say it.
What?
I'm not even gonna say it.
Finds them.
I'm not gonna say
The
it.
fez-wearing crocodile ambassador calls Mort a yeti. Genealogical confirmation, Mort gets a couple of Mordecai voices in the corner of his head to aid him, and these two are fluffy yeti-esque savages, one of which threatens to bite through Kodo's Achilles heel. They escape in a cloud of fart, while Tammy sicks Todd on the guards. Then something top-tier shocking occurs. A topic that I've
wardrobe?
also done rigorous
cupboard?
theories on in the past. Mort escapes Kodo by diving into a random glowing wardrobe in the jungle, which leads him down a tunnel and out into our world, where he is a real mouse lemur in real footage of Madagascarian nature. His crazy grandma is there, and she says,
You've come down the wishing well. Stay with us. This is the real you.
I can't tell if this is in his mind or if the wardrobe literally led to this sort of real world heaven haven, but either way,
It literally did.
vexingly cross-dimensional, unless it's not. You see, I have reason to believe, based on the granny's wording, that this is the real Mort and the entirety of Madagascar.
Tired of old school marketing tactics? Forget outdated email, cold calling, and SMS marketing. It's time.
Is an elaborate fiction that he's trapped himself in for the sole purpose of self-defense in the real world. It makes sense. Everything radiates into his world. This seems to be implied by this scene, but all this would mean is that Mort is a sort of eldritch god of his own universe. Essentially then, whether this is truly in his mind or not doesn't change a single bit of the stakes and purpose of what's going on in the show. Either Mort is an elder god who built our universe, or he's a Goodman's mouse lemur that is the elder god of his own fictional universe, who hides there in his stories for safekeeping. This is presented as a random offhand joke, and I understand why. It's irrelevant, because we already knew Mort was some sort of omnipotent, ageless deity. It's most likely that this is just...
So the real, if I'm picking up what he's saying, the reason why Mort has been around for this long is he creates that world, or he created that world or that dimension, and over there he can grow, or he can be there for years. But if he comes back to his to reality, which he did, then he can probably age like any other lemur. So that was the reason, or that's probably the reason why he went back, or he created that world, so he can never die. And he's pretty much a god there, if that makes sense, right? So he can never die while he's there, and he outlives pretty much every other person.
More of his crazy, indescribable, hyperdimensional inner mind, hence his granny also being there.
That's why the granny was like, why don't you stay with us?
And I won't be confused by it. He flies back out of the wardrobe and promises to fight to the end. Julian is still trying to get back home, and he meets this enormous emotional tentacle in the depths of a cavern who claims to be an alien from another planet, confirming aliens.
And that's why the show is so
Mort
weird.
falls for his own traps, but doesn't die, of
That's
course.
why the show is so
all fine and
weird.
good until another character, Gigi, reveals she has a photo on her wall of another real-life animal. Where do we go from
Mort.
here?
That's Mort.
It's like SpongeBob. Where
That's
it's sort
Mort.
of just perspective that makes these characters animated. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've also theorized the exact opposite. Say this sentence 10 times fast to your therapist. The evil dolphins...
The evil dolphin... failed. I failed already. The evil dolphins bully the nerdy tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia. The evil dolphins bully the nerdy tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia. The evil dolphin bully the nerdy tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia. The evil dolphin bully the tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia.
bully the
did
nerdy
it.
tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia. You can't make this shit up. Which is why I'm appalled that some DreamWorks and Netflix writers actually managed to do just that. Mort then
they made their
explains to
research.
Gigi that scientists claim he has unclassified pheromones that make no sense and could possibly be alien. Mort outright confirms here that he's a
He's an
genetic
alien as
anomaly
well.
from outer space who has no memory. This is sadly a huge step. Sadly because of how ridiculous it is, and sadly because it means I can't get the chance to theorize on it as much. It also means Mort is aware of what scientists are and has had time to be studied. The question is he referring to when they came and kidnapped him in that other episode, or has he been a wanted anomaly for generations? You know, I was told by you guys a few weeks ago to visit something called the SCP Wiki, because apparently my terminology and theories sound similar whenever I go off on an eldritch entity. I must say, it's a pretty interesting website. #non-spawn. Everything to do with Mort is intentionally contradictory in an interdimensional sense. Maybe this whole show is just the subdimensional brainchild of its writers. You know, that's probably the single most complicated way I could possibly explain All Hail King Julian being a fictional show. Julian replaces the king shark that the dolphins kidnapped with a warhead, which they sell to the Russians. Comedic commentary. This show is truly starting to remind me of Twin Peaks. That Mort dream was mere foreshadowing of Exiled. Chapter 6 of 13. Mort furiously screams at Timo to open the freaking door. Apparently Sage was in an alien support group. I swear this show is building to something enormous. Commentary on charlatans, blah 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 blah. Mort is hit with his own cannonball, scorched by a blowtorch, blown up with a volume of TNT I would calculate had I not been in a rush to get this out due to the upload scarcity at the moment. Scarcity is because of this show. I have done nothing else. No worry, I'll be uploading a lot to make up for lost
Take your
time, because the one thing this show has been good for is ideas. In this episode, Julian finds that Russian space monkey again, and so much here leads me to believe Mason and Phil were also rejected test subjects. Perhaps all the monkeys were, and these ones build a massive blimp similar to the plane in the film series. The other thing that crosses over from this show are the sky gods, which either do work by coincidence when Julian sacrifices the shark in film 2, or don't work at all because they're not on Madagascar, and the gods seem to be localized physical pagan deities. Chapter 7. Mort gets inside Timo's pod and discovers he's been held hostage by his own security system, who gained sentience and has been pretending to be a strict mother. Clover is somehow given a paranormal nightmare from Sage's mentor, warning her to exit the cult she joins and then deprograms. Yes, that has been a crucial plot point, and their seminars look like the Red Room from Twin Peaks. Back to Mort, where this time, Mort's head cranks a whole 360 degrees. Owl, I says. That seems to be the limit as he cranks it right back. Chapter 8.
Ow!
They reprogram the robot and it aids Mort and Timo on a new quest. Apparently Hans, that zombie Mort keeps losing and finding again and has a true love for, has his own zombie wife and 2 zombie children. It infuriates the wife when Mort recruits Hans, and he says,
Come on, kick me. I deserve it.
I can take it. I'm mostly sawdust and bird guano in the middle. Okay, just gonna add that to the list. Didn't show up on the
it's already in the list already.
Yeah, Mort can certainly take that kick, immortal headass. Julian and Maurice are still trying to get back to stop Kodo, and now they've encountered Fusa, who they turn on each other. The Fusa use electric saws, laser beams, automotive accidents, atomic and nuclear bombs, plane crashes, and Godzilla to fight one another. Godzilla! Outside of Julian's reaction to it. Sage's mentor swaps the minds of Clover and Sage so Clover can use his body to save the kingdom. Turns out it was probably another paranormal lucid dream. Outside of the mind space, he's a floppy fish. The zombies suggest Mort gets his own army. Mort laughs evilly, transitioning us into Chapter 9, in which Mort downs some coffee, permitting Smart Mort to rip through and seize the assets of Mordecus Khan. During transformations like this one, Mort's body physically doubles for split seconds. I wonder if Smart Mort is the original. He says, You don't know how much it hurts me to be here. I'm just too smart. The mom robot questionably sings him a song about how if you're smart in life, suppress it, because the world loves stupid. This parallels exactly what I think Smart Mort did. Sort of like my theories on Patrick Star, he defends himself with a stupid alter ego.
I was saying it!
Perhaps. Again,
Wait,
Could be
Patrick
either or,
Star?
as Mort himself isn't fully stupid either. The song is basically a hardcore satire on the concept of it's okay
I
to
gotta-
be you.
I gotta check the
Contextually,
Patrick Star
this show
then.
actually makes some
Patrick
sense,
Theory then.
sadly. It's not all fast-paced slapstick at all. Julian
I don't know if
Neely is killed
he
by
has
Tusa, but claims
Patrick
it is
Theory,
plot
but
armor that
I
keeps
gotta
him
check
alive,
it.
and he does a matrix kick to perfection. Once Smart Mort enters Khan's universe, he disappears out of fear and leaves them all stranded amidst the army and a furious Mordicus. Carl appears to save the day somehow, and Maurice is kidnapped, but everyone, you must know this. Chapter 10. Everything ever is explained. Holy hell is it ever. The show damn near ceased to be mysterious after this. I mean, I didn't even know what I'm supposed to do. But look at the time. I simply cannot edit all of this, and I've yet again...
Why are you
tested
getting
my video
creepy?
lengths way too hard. I have limits, but again, I will edit the third and final section of part 2 ASAP. But
This is
again,
so
honestly,
good.
as you'll see,
It's creepy, but
at
it's
this
good.
point, it's just part 3 and 4 for algorithmic sake. Subscribe. Do not miss anything. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at thetheorizer and until the very soon
Do
next
it.
time, I'm the Theorizer.
Do it. Woo! What I keep saying it. What wormhole have I put myself into? Because I think I was mentioning and I was talking about the Patrick
Companies
Star.
of all sizes use BigQuery
What?
to uncover
Oh,
new
I didn't-
insights from their data, like
So I was talking about the Patrick Star, and then he mentioned it, and that even got me thinking: is there a theory about Patrick? Because especially the last part where he said that he is the Smart Mort is probably the original, so he acts dumb just to fool everybody and to make people like him. But the thing is, with Mort, do people like? I mean, we the audience, we do, right? Same thing with Patrick. Like, there are characters in the show that don't, but we as the audience, we do. I'm calling it that this is gonna lead to some fourth wall break, and it's gonna transcend. I mean, we've already seen it. It's gonna transcend into our own reality, which we've seen glimpse of already. Damn. I'll see you guys on the next part 4. If you like this reaction, like, share, subscribe, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.